Already good Monday morning, Mid-Michigan. I'm First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro coming to you with a First Alert update. We are tracking some snow in the forecast. In fact, two separate rounds of snowfall for this week. So one of these is going to be late tonight into tomorrow morning, and then our other round of snow will be tomorrow night going into Wednesday. Just want to make it clear that these are two separate systems that we have heading towards us. So that does mean some differences in our snow totals, especially because the second system that comes in tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, that system is going to have likely more or higher snow totals than what we're expecting for tonight. So that should be the stronger system between the two. So we'll get you right into the forecast here. Again, tracking a bit of a busy forecast for the first half of this week. So our first round of snow, that'll be starting up late tonight, essentially almost just the early hours of tomorrow morning. And then that second round, that is going to be tomorrow night going into Wednesday. Now, both of these systems combined, we are expecting several inches of snowfall. So these are going to be looking like some shovelable snows, especially on Wednesday for some of us as well. There is going to be a little bit of rain, though, potentially at play with the snow that we're tracking on Tuesday night and Wednesday, that second round. We only have about a 6-hour break between these two systems, but again, we still want to make this clear that these are technically two separate storm systems that will be tracking into mid-Michigan. Let's talk a little bit more about that second system, though. Again, that should be the one that's stronger between the two. So what is likely here is that we're going to have some snowfall picking up tomorrow evening. That does mean some slick roads as we head into the Wednesday morning commute. And what is very much possible here too is several more inches of snow, especially for any areas that are all snow. But we could see some of that rain mixing in, especially into our southern areas. But the uncertainty here with this system as of right now is the storm track of this system exactly. So where does the center of the storm pass through? Because that is going to directly determine how far north that rain is able to reach here in mid-Michigan. And this is something that we have seen several different solutions for as of right now in our model data. I'm going to show you this diagram here. Certainly a little bit busy on this diagram, but this is basically, in a nutshell, what we have seen so far, the range of possibilities with that second system from Tuesday night into Wednesday. So you see the system there in the middle where it says most data. That's where the majority, or sort of the average or the middle ground for the majority of our model data is. So that's pointing towards the center of this storm system going right through mid-Michigan, and even more specifically right around the area of M46 or US 10, somewhere sort of along that vicinity with that system passing by. So with that, that brings all snow to the northern half of our area, but that does bring some of that rain into play for our southern communities. Now, some of the recent high resolution data that we've had has actually been taking a bit of a turn here, taking the center of that storm system through far northern Michigan, in fact almost up to the Straits of Mackinac. And then there's an outlier solution, and this one looks even less likely, is the center of the storm going through southern Michigan, pretty much right near the state line. Now, if that is the case with that system there, that would mean all snow for mid-Michigan. All of the rain would stay to the south of us, but again, that's quite an outlier solution at this point, and that is something that does look pretty unlikely. So right now with our forecast, we're leaning more towards that sort of middle ground solution where the center of the storm goes right through the middle of our area. So that does bring some of that rain into play for our southern areas. So we'll take a look at the First Alert hour by hour for that. So this is at about 10 in the evening tomorrow, which actually I'll back up the hour by hour here real quickly just to sort of show you the end of the snowfall from late tonight or tomorrow morning. This is noon tomorrow, heading to about 1 in the afternoon. I even noticed by about 3 in the afternoon, could have a few snow showers lingering, especially into the thumb. So from roughly 3 in the afternoon tomorrow until about 10 o'clock is where we catch that break. So these systems are going to be in pretty quick succession of one another. But that second system here, again, that's our focus for right now. That's going to be moving in during the evening, the late evening on Tuesday. And we'll see the snow still completely widespread across mid-Michigan into the middle of the night. But you notice this here, that rain starting to move into some of our southern areas as well. places like Perry or Durand or Owasso would be some of the first to see that rainfall moving through. And I'll take you up to about 6 in the morning on Wednesday. So right as we're starting to get into the heart of that morning commute as well, at least this specific run in the first alert hour by hour does still suggest all snowfall anywhere north of the Tri-Cities or the Bay region. Even for Huron County specifically too, it would be all snowfall, and then we have some of that rain to the south. Again, this is very much dictated by how far north or where exactly the track of the storm goes, but also how far north some of those above freezing temperatures are able to reach. But we're only talking a few degrees above freezing, likely only about 34 or 35 in some of those areas that the rainfall is showing up. And this should only be for a fairly brief period on Wednesday morning too, because by the late morning on Wednesday, we already have snow starting to wrap around the backside of the system. And then we'll start to transition over to just some lingering lake effect on Wednesday afternoon. In fact, we may end up start to see those temperatures on Wednesday afternoon steadily dropping too. So the high temperature on Wednesday could at least technically be into the early morning hours. So this is definitely a very busy part of the forecast with that system that'll be moving through tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. I do think the bottom line here, though, with this system, regardless of how far north that rain is able to reach, is that the morning drive on Wednesday is going to be messy. There's going to be some snowfall moving through. Even the areas, say like Flint, for example, where we have some snow that then transitions over to rain, that's going to mean some slushy or greasy roads. So I think overall there is going to be some slower travel for us on Wednesday morning, and then that's especially the case farther north where it's just going to be snowfall for the entirety of this event. So I would be prepared for that. Definitely Wednesday morning, a morning that you will need to allow some extra time as you're heading out the door. If you're able to leave a little bit early too, I think that'll definitely be something that you'll have to consider for Wednesday morning. And after that system, so again, that's the second system that we're tracking for this week. It is actually a fairly standard Michigan forecast after that. Thursday and all the way into the weekend, we'll have a northwest wind, just some daily lake effect chances, but we'll cool down again. So tomorrow and Wednesday will be the warmest days of the week, right near freezing, and then we're back to the mid to even low 20s, especially by the weekend. This weekend in particular does look cold, so some of those conditions could be similar to what we're experiencing this morning and what we're expecting for the afternoon today. And actually, speaking of too, after this very cold morning, we will see highs up to about 23 later today and just a very cloudy sky, likely starting to see more cloud coverage increasing for the rest of today. But outside of the cold weather that we've had so far on this Monday here, our weather conditions are actually expected to stay relatively on the quieter side here before these upcoming rounds of snowfall. What we'll do here, though, is we'll take a quick little break, and when we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the snowfall for late tonight and tomorrow morning. That should bring some accumulations as well, but that definitely is a little bit more of a straightforward forecast compared to that Tuesday night to Wednesday system. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll see you right back here after this. Alrighty, welcome back from that break. So again, the big topic here in the forecast is that we're tracking some upcoming snow chances, 2 separate rounds of snowfall for mid-Michigan. Now before the break here, we were just talking about our second round of snow Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That is the system, especially that has a little bit more focus on it too, just because it is expected to be a stronger system than what we have for late tonight and tomorrow morning. So that'll be their first round of snowfall. And one thing I actually do want to show you here as well are the snow totals that we are potentially tracking with that second system. So my apologies for that, realizing that I forgot to mention that before the break. But with that second system, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, areas that see all snowfall, and this is again an early estimate here, likely about 3 to 5 inches or somewhere in that range. As far as the areas that see some rain mixing in, we're talking about 1 to 3 inches. And I think just as a good example here too, some of our far southern spots like Perry, Gaines, Fenton, Grand Blanc, Metamora, some of those areas that are right at the bottom of the TV5 area, we expect those lowest totals about 1 inch of snow, and that's just because you'll have the greatest likelihood of seeing some rain mixing in and taking quite a dent out of those totals as well. So with that system, again, lower totals farther south, while up north you are going to have some of the higher totals there, about 3 to 5 inches, especially into our northern counties. And again, that's still up for a little bit more adjustment here in the forecast too, but just based off of what we have seen so far, that does seem to be at least a good ballpark to get us started here with that system. Either way, looks like that is going to be one that you'll have to shovel or do some snow blowing for. But again, 2 main rounds of snowfall here in the forecast. So let's talk a little bit more about this first round too. So that'll be late tonight going into tomorrow morning. As far as our road conditions go, I actually do think the heart of the morning commute tomorrow should actually still fare pretty decently, because the snow will be getting started by then, but it will be kind of a slow start between about 4 and 6 o'clock, if not even a little bit later than 6 in the morning tomorrow too. So there will be some slick spots that develop, but because of the slow start to that snowfall, I think the main part of that commute and even the bus stops tomorrow too will be able to miss most of that snowfall coming in. By the late morning and noon, though, we should have some more slick areas there, just because at that point we'll have had several hours of the snow falling, and then going into the afternoon, those road conditions should be improving, especially as temps tomorrow afternoon are going to start to approach 30 degrees. And also, it's just a very manageable amount of snowfall that we're tracking with the system, so lighter totals compared to potentially what we could see Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So here's that first alert hour by hour for tomorrow morning. We'll start off at 5 in the morning. You see there's still pretty slow start all across our area. It won't be closer until especially 8 in the morning tomorrow, where we start to see more of that rain, or rather more of that snow moving in from the west. And that snow should be able to spread over pretty much all of mid-Michigan. So fairly widespread snow for us as we start off the day tomorrow. And then as we head towards noon, we start to see some of the coverage of the snow breaking up. And then we will have even more of that snowfall just breaking apart in coverage as we go into the early to mid-afternoon. So the snowfall rates also coming down by then. So by about 3 in the afternoon tomorrow, or 4 at the very latest, is when the last of the snow showers should leave the thumb. But I even think some areas like the Bay region here or around Flint, you'll likely see your last snow showers at about noon for tomorrow. So that snowfall focused especially on that mid to late morning time period. We're only talking, though, about 1 to 2 inches of snowfall with this system for tomorrow. So again, this is that first round of snow. You see likely some of the higher totals, at least the 2-inch totals coming in for some of our northern areas, and potentially Huron County specifically as well. So still enough snow that you'll have a little bit of snow to brush off the car, especially by the late morning. But this is looking to be quite a manageable amount of snow by mid-Michigan standards. And again, this is that first round before the second round ends up coming in late into the evening on Tuesday, and then that goes into Wednesday morning. And I just want to show you that here in the first alert hour by hour. Again, we have a pretty quick break between these two systems, so sorry for jumping around in the graphic. That's at about 4 in the afternoon, so again, that first round from late tonight, that'll be leaving our area. And you see here, we only have a break of about 6 hours or so, and then that next system starts to move in, and that system right there for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, that'll be the one that brings a little bit of a heavier snowfall and higher accumulations, especially for our northern areas. But again, I think the bottom line here for these two systems moving through is that we are going to have some messy roads, especially with the second system. So Wednesday morning, I would expect some slower travel. Even tomorrow with our first round of snowfall at around lunchtime, pretty much in the immediate aftermath of that snowfall moving through. I think we'll have some slick roads as well, but given that it is a pretty manageable, just 1 to 2 inches tomorrow, we should see road conditions improving during the afternoon, pretty much improving almost as quickly as they start to deteriorate during the late morning. But I think that second round of snow, that's especially the one that will bring some more road impacts to our area, especially just given the timing of it pretty much moving in right through the middle of Tuesday night. So that's what we're tracking so far with the snowfall, and also expecting this to be a little bit more of a wetter snow, especially the one on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, because temps will be hovering right near freezing with that system. So could almost be sort of a wetter snow like we saw 2 weekends ago, where that snowfall also settles down quite a bit after some time into Wednesday. And again, that's what we're tracking with that snowfall for right now. Pretty much as we speak here, there is some more model data that's being processed and coming in slowly for us. So we will have more of that data, especially as we go into the early afternoon today. Meteorologist Diane Phillips will be right here for another live stream at 2 this afternoon. For that live stream, she'll have some of that latest data that's being processed right now. So we'll have the latest look at this for then. And if we have any other updates to snow totals, especially too, Diane will be bringing you more of that information. So that'll be right here on all of these same platforms at 2 o'clock this afternoon. But in the meantime, we hope that you have a great remainder of your Monday morning, and stay warm out there too, but enjoy some of the sunshine too while we still have it, because there will be more clouds moving in later today. But again, hope you have a great Monday morning, and we hope you had a great weekend as well.